Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Cinemax Only, and today we're going to be talking about the art of a music video. I come from a film background. I graduated with a film studies degree as well. So for me, a lot of it is just, going back to the roots of dissecting and analyzing different music videos. For me, I love video essays. I love consuming them. I think when they're done right, it really, can highlight and make arguments on points of movie, film, video that not necessarily everyone was thinking about when they were consuming it. For me, I like that little bit of extra analysis when it comes to watching videos, because I think, analyzing and critiquing other people's videos allows you to understand how they're doing it, how they're choosing to shoot something, which then is just extra knowledge for you when it comes to when you're in that same situation. For me, I get a lot of my ideas for sports videos through music videos. Stuff I see come up, I'm like, okay, how can we replicate that in a hype video? So for me, consuming music videos is something that allows me to develop as a filmmaker, and I wanted to share that with you guys today. Jumping right into it, let's dissect and talk about Jumbotron Shit Poppin by Drake, shot by Tristan CM and directed by Tristan CM. I mean, for the first 9 seconds of the music video, I think it's super important to really kind of digest what it is, and it tells you everything you need to know to watch the rest of the music video, and I think it does it really well subliminally. So I mean, obviously the first shot is just a bunch of chains, and then you have a golden PSP, you have a iced out OVO chain, the owl, then you have a New York Yankees logo, and then it goes to a shot that's blurry of Drake. He's not totally in focus, but he's standing somewhere on a penthouse rooftop with the sun going down. It's just a beautiful shot. What I think a lot of people could take away is hey, not every single shot that that isn't 100% in focus doesn't necessarily have to be a throwaway shot. It's something that you could still use, you could still throw in the beginning. It's still, in this case, the whole point of the music video is to show a vibe. It's to portray 72 hours in Drake's life. And then the shot of the trees moving fast, the trees not totally in focus. It's showing motion blur. I think this shot just kind of represents the rest of the music video. A lot of it is quick cuts, fast paced. It represents, that 72 hours is a blur. Life is like a movie, that sort of stuff. So I also think, the way that Tristan uses it within this music video is ways to, cut different shots together to make sure that things flow a little bit and speed up the pace a little bit. This shot is probably a throwaway shot, but it's just Drake's face in the corner, and then boom, he's dropping the camera off his shoulder, and then he uses that to transition into the shot of Drake. And I think this shot is also pretty interesting too. What I think is also super cool is this is me definitely over analyzing a music video, but I just think it's super cool that it just shows, hey, you don't necessarily need to have everything in frame, in shot, perfectly shot. When I was younger too, this is definitely shot handheld, probably on a shoulder rig. Definitely younger in my career, I thought everything had to be shot on a gimbal. Things had to be super smooth. Everything had to be in slow motion. There isn't just one way of doing things, and one way isn't necessarily the best. So I think what we can break down from that part, when he's walking up on the step and he's not totally in frame, I know a lot of videographers would be like, oh, we gotta redo that take. But for this, it's just hey, this is natural. Look, this shot right here is just literally Drake's back, but he takes it, uses a film burn to then cut to the skyline. Again, this is another example that we were talking about earlier, which I think is super cool, and why I like this music video a lot is the transitions are super simple, but it kind of plays with the theme of the overall video. This is me over analyzing things, but I think the argument is those motion blur aspects of the music video really draw into showing that those 72 hours are a blur. And the way that he transitions between different shots, maybe takes some throwaway shots, but then uses them as ways to transition, I think is super cool. Because then you'll see moments like this where it's who is that? And then you realize, oh, it's Central C, right? Never really realized this, but Central C looks like the UK version of Trevor Wallace. So I think this shot right here is pretty cool. I don't think a lot of people will notice it, but I mean, maybe people did notice it, but I think the intentionality of having Drake underneath the crown, I think is super cool, because like, watch as we cut through it, like it's kind of like he's crowned a little bit, but you're using the Rolex. Like you're using Rolex imagery, using stuff set in the scene to really show that, which I think is super cool. It's a little detail like this that, hey, maybe it wasn't an intentional choice, but regardless, I think it's still cool. I think this is super cool. I'm a big Central C fan. Yeah, no, I retract my Trevor Wallace statement, because I think like this shot right here, obviously the camera is focused on his hand, not his face, but it's kind of the vibe. It's, you know, he's got a big ring on, he's got the golden PSP in his hands, and he's sitting in the Ferrari. It's not like, obviously not technically the best, but I think it matches the vibe in the music video. But I think that's what this music video does, is they captured so much footage that they're able to then cut through all of it, and I think it's super cool. Again, this goes back to the same thing that we talked about earlier. You know, Drake's not in focus right here, but it's relaxed. It's not super serious, but they're just trying to really represent the fact that he's flexing. The first part too, again, he's pointing at you with a golden PSP. Who has a golden PSP? Not me. I mean, I'm just a big fan of this color grade throughout the whole video. I like it a lot. This is kind of like a match cut a little bit. He's center frame. You match another shot that's center frame, so it feels kind of smooth. Again, this is probably just me meat riding the whole video. The way they position the car obviously is like, hey, there's those 3 pillars right there. Drake's in the center one. I think it's kind of nice that he matched that compositionally, especially in run and gun stuff like this, which I assume it's like, hey, let's pull over and let's do this. These small little details, and when you notice them, they add a little bit more value to it. Most of the shots here are just pretty much like Drake vibing, and the main A-roll scene is him in this blue jacket. But this is probably the only time they really were like, oh, let's get like a bunch of A-roll. But I think, you know, he's matching obviously the beats with his fingers, and it looks good. I mean, yeah, let's just kind of wrap it up. But I mean, this music video isn't totally, you know, technically sound. It's not the craziest music video we've seen. This isn't a .com Nirvana production. But what I think is super interesting that we can take away from it is it matches the song perfectly. If Drake did like a big production with a full-on set like Hotline Bling like he did 7 years ago, that wouldn't fit the song. I think the colors in the music video are really nice. I like the texture. I like, you know, the film design. When I was younger in my career, I would have hated this music video. I would have been like, he could have done so much better. He could have done this, and this. At the end of the day, I wasn't mature enough to realize that, hey, it didn't really fit the vibe. Doing a very highly edited music video like a .com Nirvana production, or maybe even something like a Lyrical Lemonade, it probably wouldn't have fit Drake's vibe. It wouldn't fit Drake's image with this song. Having the 72 hours, having a bunch of, you know, footage of partying, going throughout life, I think that's more of a better representation of what the song is really talking about, and creates that same vibe that I get when I listen to it. And when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have thought about that. I only thought about, you know, what the visuals are and not what the actual meaning of the music video is. I don't even think that's like a super mature take. I think it's just kind of what I like about this music video is it's not trying to be something that it's not. Like, it's not a hyper pop music video with a bunch of visual effects. This is just a, you know, it's a vibe. It's a bop. And that's kind of what Jumbotron Shit Poppin is as a song. I think what you can take away from this music video too is like, hey, like you don't always have to play by the rules. You don't always have to have everything in focus. You don't always have to have everything perfectly stabilized, perfectly balanced, perfectly shot, composition, whatever. As a videographer, those toxic pressures you have when you're first starting sometimes hinder you from, you know, putting work out because you don't think it's as perfect as it could be. This video is a good representation of music, and that's all a music video is representing the artist's interpretation of that song. Thank you for sticking along with me for this long, overdrawn analysis of a 2.5 minute music video. Shout out Tristan CM. Shout out everyone who worked on this production. Let's read some of the comments. The most consistent artist of our generation. Drake been at the top since he stepped in. Damn, the meat riding crazy. They just like me. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys supporting me. I know I'm trying to get more consistent with this stuff. If you like this video, please leave a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm or whatever. I appreciate you guys for watching this far. If you want to subscribe, please hit subscribe and stay around. All right. Peace.